Hello, sir. Thank you very much for accepting to give us your valid time. Oh, never mind. Don't be so formal, Wayne. Let's sit there comfortably and have a cup of tea. Oh, thank you, sir. My pleasure to have a cup of tea with you. Kalam, sir, you inspired me in a lot of ways, but one thing which inspired me most is your reaction and adaptation to failure. You never stopped working and dreaming, just because of failure. Instead you worked harder. I believe, dreams transform into thoughts, and thoughts result in action, and action leads to success. Yeah. I also love to dream. Your words dream transform into thoughts, and thoughts create action, inspire me a lot. Sir, could you please share about your childhood with us? Yeah, why not? I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameswaram in the erstwhile Madras state. My father, Jainul Abdin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiyama. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family put together. I was one of the children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks, born to tall and handsome parents. We lived in our ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large pucca house, made of limestone and brick, on Thimusk Street in Rameswaram. My austere father used to avoid all unessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for, in terms of food, medicine or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. How nice. Sir, I read in your autobiography that you helped your cousin Shamsuddin in distributing newspapers in Rameswaram. Could you share that with us? The Second World War broke out in 1939, when I was 8 years old. For reasons I have never been able to understand, I don't know why, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines and in money. Our area, being isolated, was completely unaffected by the war. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces, and something like a state of emergency was declared. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameswaram station. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameswaram road between Rameswaram and Hainaskodi. That forced my cousin Shamsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameswaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and, as if naturally, I filled the slot. Shamsuddin helped me earn my first wages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. That sounds great, sir. You are a role model to everyone, sir. It seems you have inherited this character from your parents. Exactly. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment, and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. From my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did my 3 brothers and sister. Sir, do you have any friends? Would you mind sharing about your friends in schooling? I had 3 close friends in my childhood, Romanad Hasastri, Arvindain and Sivaprakasan. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. As children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences in upbringing. In fact, Romanad Hasastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri, the high priest of the Rameswaram temple. Later he took over the priesthood of the Rameswaram temple from his father. Arvindain went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims. And Sivaprakasan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. And you, a great scientist, president of our country and inspiration to everyone. Sir, Rameshwaram is famous for Sita Rama Temple and annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony. Was it so special? Absolutely. Let's go out and have some tea. I will tell you about the annual Kalyanam ceremony and my family's role too. During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site, situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Events from the Ramayana and from the life of the Prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. One day when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameswaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramanad Hasastri, who wore the sacred thread. The new teacher could not digest a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramanad Hasastri. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. How disgusting. Did you complain to your parents? It's interesting. Then what happened? After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshmana Sastri summoned the teacher, and in our presence, told the teacher that he shall not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. That's good. Hope they warned him. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Sastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. Sir, I heard that Rameswaram society is particular about social groups. What do you say, sir? Did you try to erase it any day? That's true. Our small society of Rameswaram was very rigid in terms of the segregation of different social groups. However, my science teacher Sivaju Brahmania Iyer, though an Orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. He did his best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. He used hours with me and would say, "Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities." One day, he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in her ritually pure kitchen. She refused to serve me in her kitchen. Sivaju Brahmania Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead, served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water or cleaned the floor after the meal. When I was leaving his house, Sivaju Brahmania Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told not to get upset, saying, "Once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted." Exactly. Sir, did you visit them again? I did. When I visited his house the next week, Sivaju Brahmania Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. Great, sir. Could you please tell us about your high school education? Where did you study? Did your mother allow you to go? Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameswaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. How nice. Did he agree? He told me as if thinking aloud, "Abul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun, alone and without a nest?" He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother, "Your children are not your children." They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you but not from you. You may give them your love but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. Wow, amazing, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Let's meet again and continue our discussion. Really, your life story is a great inspiration to many. Good day, sir.